April is Fair Housing Month, a time to reflect and act on ensuring everyone in our community has equal access to stable housing. Over the last month, Salt Lake City has partnered with community groups to launch a number of housing projects intended to fill gaps through which vulnerable people fall. This has included partnering with the Road Home on an expanded pilot of their shared housing program to help qualified individuals in shelter pair up to lower the cost of housing. We partnered with the VOA to support their ACT housing program, which will provide housing assistance to individuals with mental illness. And today, we are excited to partner with Utah Community Action and Salt Lake City School District to continue and enhance their school-based homelessness program. With the city's grant of $105,808, our housing staff is very precise. We can help at least 12 households and many more individuals. And at the heart of this program are the students in our city schools. Young people who are doing all they can to stay focused on their studies and trying to live normal lives. Unfortunately, for too many, disruptions in housing can mean a disruption in learning. And that's what we are here to prevent. By putting the students at the heart of this unique housing program, we are able to provide stable housing and create opportunities for the future. This program will combine down payment, rent assistance, and case management for families with students in Salt Lake City schools who are experiencing some form of homelessness. These families may be experiencing homelessness on the brink of losing their homes or doubling up in unstable situations. Some may even be couch surfing. With the assistance of our city schools, we will be able to identify these families and get them back where they need to be. Families like Cindy's, who is here today. Cindy has 9 children in her household, including a granddaughter, 6 of whom are in Salt Lake City schools. Cindy is a hard-working single mom who had a hard time when her landlord sold the duplex the family was living in for years, and the new owner gave her 30 days notice to leave. After some time spent between family and motels, Utah Community Action stepped up and helped stabilize Cindy's family with the priority of keeping the kids in the schools that they were attending. We know there are many more families like Cindy's in our city schools, and it is my hope that this pilot program can give us the data needed to expand outreach even more. As I mentioned, this grant is being made from the city's Funding Our Future initiative, an initiative to, in part, provide more resources to ensuring housing equity and affordability. It makes me so proud as the mayor of this city that residents have embraced our effort to provide more affordable housing. Just from the programs we've launched this last month, with a fraction of the Funding Our Future dollars, we are on the way to stabilizing individuals in the numbers of over 100 in our community, something that we can all be proud of. That kind of stability is exactly what our community has needed. So thank you everyone who supported the Funding Our Future initiative.
Thank you, Mayor. Up here. I want to echo her sentiments about thank you to everyone. I was born in Utah and raised here, and my dad was a school teacher. And back when I started school at Geneva Elementary, we actually qualified for free meals for lunch every day. Actually, breakfast too, I believe. And I didn't know that till years and years later, but I still remember how wonderful those meals were to me. And my dad was a school teacher. I don't think much has changed since then. Unfortunately, since 1980, it feels like we're not getting much farther along in our wages and things. And so programs like this are crucial to kids because I still remember those times, and I'm pretty sure the kids today are going to remember, even if they don't know it now, how wonderful it was to have support and help. And families like this who are working hard and trying to help their kids to have better futures deserve help. So I want to be mindful today of all those who we don't recognize who are struggling or are homeless, because I think when we talk about homelessness in Utah, at least especially recently, we're talking a lot about the chronically homeless, single men and women, the folks who are very visible in the streets oftentimes. But it's more like an iceberg that way. We see them visibly, but there's this massive number of folks who are just below the surface, who are just trying to get by day to day, perhaps, or week to week, or month to month, and they're hidden. And programs like this hopefully will shine a positive light on the need and also highlight ways that we can help more fully and deeper into our neighborhoods than we have before. So I want to make sure that we're mindful of all those families out there. The kids are in schools, the schools know them. As we're listening to the schools, and we're here from Mike Harmon today, listen to what the needs are and let's address those together as a community. So I want to thank the mayor and administration very much for prioritizing this. I want to thank the citizens of Salt Lake City and all those who come to Salt Lake and help with our sales tax, because that's the way we can help fund these things, and it's meaningful. When we pay a little extra for our amenities downtown, it helps families in very deep ways. So thank you to everybody, and let's keep going forward.
Patrice Dixon, it's Patrice, and then Dickson. I'm COO of Social Services at Utah Community Action. On behalf of Utah Community Action, I wish to thank Mayor Biskupski for this generous award which supports our school outreach program. This funding allows expansion of a pilot program that Salt Lake City helped to initiate in 2017 in collaboration with UCA and the Salt Lake City School District. This project was innovative, filling a gap in the homeless system. Under the HUD definition of homelessness, families can only be helped if they are literally homeless. This funding allowed UCA to work with families under the McKinney-Vento definition of homelessness, which includes those who lack a permanent and stable nighttime residence due to loss of housing, economic hardship, or similar reasons. It targets families with school-aged children who are currently homeless in the Salt Lake City School District. In the 2018-2019 school year, there were 800 students who were identified as homeless in the district. This program provides eligible families with case management, short to medium-term rental assistance, and connections to UCA's other programs, including Head Start and Early Head Start, heat, utility assistance, weatherization, food pantries, nutrition services, and adult education, as well as referrals to partnering community agencies. Having a stable home greatly impacts the student's ability to succeed in school and provide a continuity in learning, decreases in adverse impact of alternative teaching styles and differing curriculum requirements, and prevents students from having to establish new social supports with friends, teachers, and administrators. We appreciate the partnership of Mike Harmon and the Salt Lake City School District. Mike and his team have provided us with referrals and helped us to coordinate with the school counselors, family liaisons, and staff, and will continue to be a valued partner. From the beginning of this pilot, UCA has been able to provide case management and housing services for 51 families who are at or below 40% AMI and are currently homeless, including those that are couch surfing and doubled up. These 51 families contained 121 school-aged children. Of those 51 families, we've secured housing for 25 families and are working with the additional families to obtain housing. The current funding will allow UCA to work with a minimum of 12 households who meet this definition of homelessness and expand our level of services for increases in family income and employment, connections with needed resources, and increased collaboration with the schools. I would like to recognize one of our case managers who is here today with us, Laura Lee Duarte, who has worked with these families to achieve their goals. She provides outstanding support and services to them. Again, we are grateful for the support of Salt Lake City, which will allow us to continue to serve these homeless families, and for the foresight and vision of Mayor Biskupski and her staff. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Mike Harmon, that's Harman, and I'm an education specialist with Salt Lake City School District. And I have the privilege of working directly with many of the families we're talking about today, these families experiencing homelessness in Salt Lake City. On behalf of the students and families of Salt Lake City School District, thank you. This partnership is important to many families that I work with. Through a coordination of effort, many of these families have been able to locate and secure affordable housing within Salt Lake City. This support allows students to continue in the schools they've been attending where they feel comfortable and have friends. Many families recognize the stabling influence of school in the life of a child. Regardless of what's going on in the family, school is a place where students receive breakfast and lunch, where they have a caring adult who supports them, and they have opportunities, regardless of their living situation, to have some stability and a place to spend time with their friends. Parents often reach out to schools employees because they trust those relationships. Someone at the school will help them. As an educational institution, we don't have the organizational capacity or the resources to provide housing, but through this partnership, we now have additional tools that we can refer families to get the support that they need when they're facing a housing crisis. Many of us think of homelessness in our community. We don't necessarily think of ways that children are impacted. But imagine a parent facing homelessness or eviction and think of the barriers that are ahead of them. One family I worked with recently spent months bouncing around from family to family, where they would stay for 2 or 3 nights to not impact the host family in a major way. As much as the family wanted to provide a stable place for their child and a place to call home, the ability to come up with the first month's rent and a security deposit was holding them back from being able to secure a stable place. To many of us, this might not seem like a big obstacle, but for families who are living paycheck to paycheck, who struggle to make ends meet, or who might face other challenges, this obstacle becomes insurmountable. Through this partnership, this family was able to secure housing that allowed the students to remain in the school they had been attending, and the family to have a regular place to call their own. The value of that cannot be measured. And unfortunately, there just aren't many resources for families like them who are experiencing homelessness but aren't currently living in a homeless shelter. Thanks to this partnership, we will continue to remove some of the biggest barriers to secure housing and assist families like the ones I mentioned in locating affordable housing, help them with security deposit, and provide rental assistance so they can get back on track and have stable housing again. Through this effort, families will receive additional supportive case management and coordination with the local school staff and other service providers to ensure that they are on the road to housing stability, which in the end will contribute to a higher chance of academic success for all students. I am excited to be part of this endeavor and look forward to helping those families experiencing homelessness return to a stable housing situation. Thank you to Utah Community Action, Mayor Biskupski and the City Council, and all those working for Salt Lake City and many other community partners who have made this opportunity possible. Thank you.
Yay!